Ladies and gentlemen, the Middle East is currently reeling from a series of high-stakes reactions that have pushed all diplomatic efforts to the absolute sidelines. Almost immediately after Iran claimed to have launched an attack on the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, Israel retaliated with a precision strike on Iran's only submarine research center in Isfahan. Military observers view this sequence not as a simple tit-for-tat engagement, but as a calculated strategic move aimed at Tehran's long-term military capabilities. Within Iran's power structure, the submarine fleet serves as a vital asymmetric deterrent, especially in the narrow and complex waters of the Persian Gulf. By choosing to hit a research facility rather than active warships, Israel is signaling a shift toward choking the future rather than just destroying the present. This strike could cost Iran years of progress in designing and upgrading its next generation of underwater vessels. This event marks a clear transition from a defensive posture to a proactive, preemptive strike doctrine by Tel Aviv, targeting the enemy's most valuable strategic links. Meanwhile, Iran's decision to target the USS Abraham Lincoln, a primary symbol of American global military reach, sends a powerful deterrent message about its ability to penetrate even the most sophisticated defense umbrellas. Although both the United States and Israel have officially denied any significant damage, the logic of confrontation is rapidly overwhelming the logic of diplomacy. Multi-point peace proposals that were once on the negotiating table now appear to be little more than scraps of paper amidst the smoke of missiles and drones. In these final days of March 2026, the Middle East is entering a multi-dimensional era of confrontation where both sides are testing limits and approaching a red line that neither may be able to fully control if a single miscalculation occurs. Parallel to the kinetic explosions on the ground is a second, equally fierce front: information warfare and the control of perception. The incidents involving the American aircraft carrier and the research center in Isfahan have created a dual reality across global media. Iran asserts that it has dealt a heavy blow to enemy assets, forcing the United States to radically adjust its naval tactics in the Gulf. Conversely, Washington and Tel Aviv maintain that the Iranian attacks failed completely and that no significant damage was recorded. In this modern form of warfare, the boundary between truth and propaganda becomes dangerously thin. The issue is no longer who is right or wrong in an absolute sense. It is about which side can shape a narrative that maintains its alliances, stabilizes domestic public opinion, and exerts psychological pressure on the opponent. For Tehran, proving it can directly threaten a multi-billion-dollar carrier strike group provides immense deterrent leverage against American allies in the region. Meanwhile, for the United States and Israel, maintaining an image of invincibility is essential to prevent negative ripple effects on global energy markets and to keep investor confidence steady. However, the factor making this picture even more dangerous is the nuclear shadow looming in the background. A projectile landing near the Bushehr nuclear power plant has already triggered red alerts from the International Atomic Energy Agency. This proves that the gap between a conventional military conflict and an atomic catastrophe is terrifyingly narrow. Nuclear facilities are not standard military targets. A minor calculation error or a stray strike could turn a regional war into a global disaster, forcing other world powers to intervene deeply in both military and political spheres in 2026. A unique feature of this current phase of the conflict is how the United States and Iran are operating two seemingly contradictory logics simultaneously: direct military confrontation alongside back-channel diplomatic probing. The presence of the USS Abraham Lincoln is more than a military deployment. It is a political signal that America has not withdrawn from the Middle East and remains ready to intervene if its core interests are threatened. However, from Tehran's perspective, the concept of diplomacy under pressure is fundamentally unacceptable. They argue that meaningful dialogue cannot occur while gunships and aircraft carriers maintain a permanent siege. The core conflict is not about whether the parties want to negotiate, but that they are approaching the table with two entirely different frameworks. The US uses pressure as leverage, while Iran views that very pressure as a barrier that dissolves all strategic trust. The maritime space in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman is becoming a pressure cooker, where Iran's asymmetric warfare tools ranging from long-range cruise missiles to suicide fast boats constantly challenge massive American warships. In such a confined space with high traffic density, small and hard-to-detect targets are creating immense psychological pressure and actual risk for carrier strike groups. This reflects a bitter reality of modern warfare. High technology does not equate to being untouchable. Every current move is framed as calculated restraint to avoid crossing the line into total war, but the greatest risk remains a miscalculation. A single misinterpretation of intent or an overestimation of the opponent's next move could collapse this fragile balance, turning the current direct confrontation into an uncontrollable escalatory spiral that would permanently alter the global geopolitical chessboard in 2026. If you want to stay updated with fast, accurate news and never miss important developments around the world, hit the subscribe button now. Goodbye, and see you again soon.